Okay, last week I finished this up. It's about midday on a Friday right now. Last week I finished this whole side up to what I'm happy with. I was planning on taking it off the stands, switching places with the M38A1, and welding from underneath the floor. I've decided not to do that yet. Right now, this back section is perfect height for me to use my little stool, wire brush all that junk off, and start on it. I may or may not finish these corners, because my plan was originally to do that on the left where it's more my eye level. But I'm not sure right now. But I want to wire brush all of this area, because you see this patch panel here. I'm fairly certain it's going to go all the way to here. You can almost make it out. So I think there's another panel behind here. I want to see what it looks like. I'm going to take off this bumperette, I believe is what they call it. And I'm going to wire brush this entire back end. I know I'm going to weld this up. I don't know if these two holes, I don't know if they're supposed to be there. I think I'm going to fill them. And then I may have to fix this. That looks solid. But I'm going to wire brush all this up first. I don't have any more plastic filler or Bondo, so I may have to go get some more. But I'm going to want to finish this back end while, as you can see, I have a ton of room behind it. I'll move my fan. That's right there. Somewhere around here by the driver's side door entryway, so I can blow all the dust that way. Or I'll put it right here where the stool is and facing the big door to kind of suck it from where I'm welding and out that way. We'll figure that out in a minute. But the goal for this weekend is to get that done. At least everything, maybe not the lower corners. We'll see about the lower corners. Yep. You'll see in a little bit. Thank you. Alright, so I'm taking off this bumperette. These two came off pretty simple. One thing I can tell why there's so much rust in these bottom pockets. I don't know if you can see that really well. But look at all this dirt that accumulates in there. It just sits in between these two, the back brace and the front panel. We're going to go underneath it right now, but this whole back panel from at least here down, I think was replaced. But it looks like they actually bought a replacement back panel. We're going to go underneath right now, and I'm going to show you the not so great work. Those are their welds. Not great. This should have been a plug weld. Looks like they tacked it for half a sec and called it good. Those and that. Maybe a small crack here. Not totally sure. At any rate, I'm going to have to clean all this shit up. Maybe put a rust converter on it. The other part is these two bolts here. You can barely reach the nut back here. I got to cut this wiring harness off, which I have a new one anyway. Plus, this was here. I didn't move it yet. You can actually see how the wires have melted on the exhaust pipe. not the best theory. That one's got some rubber boots or grommets. If you can see it, where the wire goes through. This side, it does too, I guess. Yeah, it does. I'm sorry. I didn't think it did, but it does. Boy, they look tougher than nails. I'm just going to cut the wire probably right here where it's all burnt and pull it through, and maybe I'll be able to reach at least the bottom one. I'm not sure. Actually, barely touch. 1, 2. So I can reach them if I move it. This pipe is going to be in my way. The muffler is actually not too terrible shape. No, I don't want to cut it. Let's see the. Sorry for the hand. Let's see the floor I rebuilt. The weld-through primer that's on it. I have not finished this up yet. I plan on wire brushing it all. I have a urethane windshield adhesive that I actually love for like my finishing. I will put it in like seam sealer, and it's tougher than the hinges of hell. It don't let nothing come through, but it's still flexible, so it won't crack like some of the other seam sealers, body seam sealers. But I still want to do a little bit more welding underneath here, at least at that front portion, way up there. So I don't want to paint the floor on the upper side just yet. The gas one I'm completely happy with. I'm going to seam seal that and get all that done after I wire brush it and put a little self-etching primer on it. So that one's done. If that makes sense. So let me cut this wire, get that bolt off, get that bumper head off, and then start working on this back panel some more. Yep. So I was trying to remove that top bolt. The nut is on the inside in between the frame rail. And trying to use a screwdriver wedge it between the frame rail and the nut. See if it'll lock it up, but it seems to be pretty stuck. So I decided I would cut a wrench and make a small little closed in or boxed in side. So I cut one, right? Thought it would work out pretty well. Was underneath this thing trying to get it to work for a while. Couldn't get it to get on the nut. Eventually I wised up and looked at it, and yeah, I cut the wrong one. Don't know why, didn't pay attention. Well, this is a wrench I had already retrofitted to do something else with, not even sure what. And I figured I'd just cut the back end off and use it. Obviously that won't work. So I got a bunch of other of my 5/8 wrench, which is the correct size, trying to figure out which one I want to use. It needs to be thin wall, so it fits in between the gap of the frame rail. So it's got this little, let's see here. So it's like, you see I use this as a note board all the time. It's like a U-shape area with the nut going through. And you don't have a whole lot of space. So I'm going to be able to put the box wrench around it, and it'll hold itself. The back end of like this part here will just get stuck between the frame rail and here as it's trying to spin. That was the goal. So now I'm going to cut one of these, and it's probably going to be this ugly thing here. These are all the old school Craftsman USA ones. This is some drop forged, looks like maybe Taiwan. Yeah, it's Taiwan. But it looks like it'd be pretty thin wall. Cut it about here, shove it up there and see if that works. The only other one that's pretty thin would be that one. I think most of these Craftsman ones, as you can see, they're pretty thick around the edge compared to like this one here. So I think that's the route I'm going to go. I'll see you back shortly. I'm also going to be cutting it, and I cut this one with my new cold saw. I have about a 20-plus-year-old DeWalt saw, abrasive cutter that I've had for years. Gotta be 20 years. I had it in my house in Bellflower. I moved up from Bellflower in 2004. So that's at minimum 20 years old now. But yeah, let's get to cutting, and I'll get back with you guys. There she is, all cut. We'll get it underneath this thing. I may have to trim it a little bit more, but I doubt it. I'm going to clean up the edges so I don't cut myself. But now it's at least the right size. And just for kicks, I may weld that back together. I don't know, we'll see. But this I'm going to leave off because I will need a way to tighten them to put them back on. So put it back in there, I guess. If anybody else has done these bumperettes and gotten these out before, let me know. I was wondering how I did this side, and then I remembered that side didn't have one when I started this mess. This one here was easier to get to. It was just some weird trailer hitch you made. I found the pintle hook. I honestly don't know how to say it, but I found it. I'll be putting the correct stuff on. And I actually, even though it may or may not be correct, I plan on putting a bumperette on each side. I think it'll look cooler. And if anybody can tell me if that's upside down or not, with the angles facing down instead of up, I'd like to know. I will be checking photos, but any comments would be cool. Awesome, awesome. You see my little stalker? He's always out here when I'm out here. Cash, you're a good boy. That can't be comfortable leaning up on my tool bench. Dogs are so cool. They can be comfortable almost anywhere. He has a bed. He has a dog house. He has everything he wants. But he likes to sleep. Actually likes to dig his own holes and sleep in the holes. He also finds cardboard or whatever to sleep on instead of his fluffy tough, I think it's a tough bed, or it's supposed to be like Kevlar reinforced fibers. The dude eats it like a minute anyway. Alright, enough long-winded bullshit. Let's move on. My new tool for reaching these nuts. With the little wrench in on the nut in between the frames, I'm able to work this side with my hand behind here to hold it in place. I put another bolt in this side to keep this thing out of the way, the bumperette out of the way. It definitely was the only way this was going to happen. My hands on the back side, holding the nut. And there it goes. You can see that worked out pretty well. It's actually kind of stuck in there. Okay, so I ground down more of this, or not ground, but I'm using the wire brush, and I had to stop for a second. I'm finding more Bondo where they're not needed, other than I think they were covering up all the spot welds, making it smooth like you would for a show car, if you will. There's Bondo under here, you can see it. I'm betting I'll find spot welds under it. Well, I should, because that's like a piece that's spot welded onto the top. Might be a bit of rust here. I'm gonna grind off or wire brush all this, is what I mean. I'm not seeing any spot welds on that. Oh, that's only single layer, so I may not. I should here, and I don't see any. I'm pretty sure once I wire brush all that off, I'll see some there. I know I'll see some here. But I think that's what they were doing, is just covering up the spot welds. It's kind of neat. This is all cheap brushed on paint. But where the spare tire was and the oxidation, that's where the sun goes through the holes on the rim, and the oxidized paint matches down here. But right here is where the tire would have been and didn't oxidize the paint. And obviously under that little tow hitch thing he had on here, under the bumperettes, it didn't oxidize. Images of the progress and the weld patch panels that I'm working around. All right, we got a good 90% of this wire brushed off. I am going to prep this a little differently because I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing here. There was no rust on this. I'm wondering if it was hot rolled and that mill scale that gets on stuff was still on it when they painted it. I just got to watch it a little bit carefully and maybe prep it a little bit better. Where they welded wasn't horrible. They didn't do a bad job. I'm not sure I would have done it this way. I'm not sure I'd even bothered going up. But they didn't want to mess with this, obviously. So why not keep it straight? Unless there was damage here, I'm not 100% sure. One thing I can say is this was done after some Bondo here. That's actually a hole. Bet you. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can feel the backside of it. Might be a rivet, but I'll dig into that more. At any rate, so bluish primer, which is what I was seeing on the top of here and the top of here, right? And that was basically to cover all the spot welds and make it smooth. Completely disagree with it, but that's what they did. You can see how they're doing the same thing here. So bluish primer, like a forest green, red or pink primer, and then this darker green, and then a brush color green. So this is like the third fix, if you will. I dare say this was a bullet hole, and that might be why they didn't fix it, because it wasn't fixed with this, and then it wasn't fixed with this. But it goes from here down. It's about the size of a 30-06 and goes through like this. Let's see here. Well, let's use that punch. Like that. I don't know what it is. That's my guess. This was rushed from the other side. I'm betting it was body filler that was laid over like this, that got chipped off, and body filler is very porous. It'll soak in water. If it's left like this, where the other side is left alone, it doesn't soak in as much as if you break that little squishy part off, and then it has a chance to soak in water, and then it rusts on that side. So I will be fixing that. Whether or not that's a bullet hole or not, I don't know, but I'm fixing that. I want it to be a little bit better. I'm not doing anything with this. I'm going to refill it. All honesty, it wasn't done horribly. Not how I would have done it. But somebody's going to look at what I did there and go, what the fuck, you know? People are going to complain what they complain about. I made a step here. Probably should have made a step there, but I did not. Okay. Now, this side here. There's a brace that goes diagonally to here and then starts going horizontally here. The brace itself, I don't feel any damage on. It's where the dirt got trapped on the brace and this outer panel that became the problem. They filled it with some filler last time. I was getting big chunks out. You can kind of see it right there. That's all the stuff I blew out from in here. Anyway, so I'm going to cut a panel. I'm going to spot weld these out, or not spot weld. I'm going to drill these spot welds out. Here, here. You can kind of feel them. Here, 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 here. And then it goes up here. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but there's spot weld here, 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 here. So I'm going to drill these out, cut this panel out here, probably not to here, probably to here. You actually see something's weird there. Ideally, what I want to do is, okay, let's say that this is that brace. No. Let's say this is that brace. This one right here. So if it goes like this and like this, it's about a 1/2 inch wide. Let's call it. The replacement steel I'm going to want to do is going to cover this. So it's going to come from about here down to here, maybe into this a bit, and just above the light, and then like this. So ideally my patch panel will go over it. Let's call that little light, like this. So I can do butt welds here, or maybe a lap weld, plug welds, and I would be replacing most of this. What I did on this side, that I will do on this side, is that little brace that holds all that dirt, I left a couple holes in it so it drains better, so it doesn't hold the dirt and create mud and create moisture and create more rot. Appreciate anybody's comments if they've done anything like this before. I never assume I know everything, because I can guarantee I do not. Okay, let's get back to it. We got the back end completely stripped of paint and body filler. I got these two pieces cut out. I'm probably going to cut out more and probably redo this body line here, this indentation. I cut out the rust that was directly underneath it. Tomorrow, maybe later tonight, I'm going to see if I can weld these two holes up that are inside that body line. If I can't weld those up, then I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Probably like that there. Possibly, let's see here. So right here is an edge of a body line here, or not a body line, but a reinforcement I don't know what you want to call it. Whereas a piece that's spot welded up here, here, probably for the tire. So I don't want to go much further there. Plus, there's no rust behind it. There's no reason to. If I can weld this up, weld that up, that was stupid. Which is not. And look at all the rocks, man. Can you see that rock in there? Odds are I'm going to be cutting it here and creating one big patch panel instead of two. And then I'll have to redo this with the bead roller, which I was okay with it on that side. It's not as deep as these, because I machined this down further. It was a real shallow bead. I may machine it further. Actually, I probably won't, not for that little spot. I'm gonna probably leave that alone. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone if I make another piece. And I'm thinking I should. Or do I go up higher? No, I don't go up higher. I'll just connect it from here to here. Get rid of this. So there's not a butt weld here, butt weld here. Manufacture this. And just do it from there. I do want to drill a hole either here or here, maybe both, on the brace so the dirt dumps this time, then sit there and build up. If you can look in here, you can see dirt is actually angled down to where it doesn't dump at all. It just collects dirt. It piles up here. Dirt and water make mud. Mud holds in the water, creates rust. You saw that one rock. I'm gonna have to make sure that's out. I'm gonna call today done. Well, maybe not today. I'm gonna call right now done. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat. It's getting cold. My feet are freezing. It's got to be in the 30s again. So I'm gonna go inside, eat, relax, warm up, and then maybe come out here and redesign a few things. Not redesign, redecide. Like, go ahead and cut this straight across, like from here over, down, right here, and then up to here. That's the way it should be repaired. You know what? I'm just gonna do that. I'll see you in a second. I decided to go ahead and cut out that piece I knew needed to be done correctly. I made a drawing of where the lines are in relationship to each other. That one, and then where that one should be. I'm also going to go ahead and weld that crack up. And then I will put the patch panel on. But that might be later on today or tomorrow. Like I said, I'm cold and hungry.